Hello, everybody. This is Megan,
And this is Alana.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes.
Welcome to our show about tea and a little
And
crime.
crimes. We're recording at night, so I don't know what's going to happen. We'll either fall asleep
Woo!
or be super weird. And not that you know, but we usually record pretty early in the morning because we're a bunch of little,
Grandmas.
yeah, I was going to say, songbirds, but
Oh,
grandmas is more accurate.
elderly folk.
So how are you doing? You got any news for me? Have you been hiding any stories from me this week to spring
No,
on
there's
me?
no hidden animals. I was reminiscing about the baby possums that we fostered with the rugby team. I have a rugby tournament tomorrow, so that's going to be a lot, but it'll be good.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other stories. It's just been kind of the grind. What about you?
Yeah, I got nothing over here. Although my son asked me today if squirrels could be pets, and I had to
Oh my
say
God.
yes. And then I had to give you as an example. So be prepared for questions about that.
Amazing.
Yeah. I said, no, we can't have one, but some people do.
Some people.
All right. Well, do you have a tea that you want to just jump right into then?
Sure. This is Riddle's Book and Tea Company. I used them. I had one of their teas previously on a podcast. I think it was a book hangover.
Yeah.
This one's called Plots and Thoughts. I got
Oh.
their writer box. They have this whole cute box with like 6 teas in it and other fun stuff. And this was one of them.
I love how you shoulder shimmy when you explain it
When
every
I get
time. It's my
excited.
favorite. I wish everyone could partake in that visual.
Do you though? Let's
Very
see.
much.
This decaf blend of peach and chamomile will soothe you and open up a universe of thoughts and ideas. Ceylon tea, peach, marigold, apple, some cornflowers, and orange peels.
Okay.
So, yeah, here we go. I didn't put any milk in it.
Is it a decaf?
It is decaf because yikes, I need to get to
It's
bed
late at
early.
night. Grandma doesn't need to be up.
No, I gotta get my
Grandma's
sleep.
got mahjong in the morning. We gotta.
Masha.
Is that how you say it? Is that a game?
Yeah, it is. I didn't put any milk in it, even though it is technically a black tea, but it's decaf and it's a little delicate. It's a delicate one.
Just a baby.
Immediately smells like peach, so the cell
That-
is good.
There was a slight technical pause before the CH hit, and
Ooh.
I was concerned.
I just got what you said. Her teas are so well balanced. Hold on.
High praise
Oh,
coming from you.
I love when decaf still has a nice body. I was going to say nice ass body, but then that seemed appropriate. And I still even said it out loud. So here we are. Okay. Beautiful body. Goes down smoothly. The peach likes to sink in and settle while the chamomile just like flutter
Yeah, it
down
does.
a little bit.
It's the butt of the tea.
This would be good with a splash of milk, but it's really good without it. And you know, I'm very strict on my milk and black teas, but it is good without it. It's really nice. It's not too sweet with the peach. It's just a touch. It is the strong flavor, but man, what would I give this tea? I mean, it's definitely a thumbs up. Oh boy. We're going to do another balanced thumbs up. Because it's really hard to do that, especially for independent tea makers who don't have all of the
Could you add another adjective though?
well balanced, juicy balanced,
Yeah. Okay.
peachy balanced.
Yeah. Which one are you gonna go with? We need a final answer.
Peachy balance, because I like the word peach, and especially peachy. Give you a break, 10 out of 10 kind of word.
Yeah, and you love to eat a peach. I don't think you've eaten a peach on the air yet. You were supposed to.
I think we might lose followers if we do that.
We might gain some weird ones. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might have to
Yeah.
be we need to start a Patreon just for that.
Oh. Okay, this is getting weird.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think we
highly
just I stumbled
recommend
into
this tea.
OnlyFans.
Yes.
Okay, I'm out of here.
But I would really recommend checking out it's Riddle's Book and Tea Company. She does a lot of great blends and a lot of great different boxes, a lot of nerdy stuff too. So she's fantastic and she knows how to blend a tea, I'll tell you that.
Blend it, baby. I'm feeling a little punchy because it's so late at night. It's
Good.
like
Punchy.
7:30.
Yeah, it
We
is.
I act like it's midnight. Well, today I have a TTC tale as old as time for us just to really sink our teeth into and get back to our basic roots. But unfortunately, a lot of it occurred in a French-speaking area, so we're gonna have some
Oh, yeah.
brutal,
Ceylon tea is ready to go.
brutal pronunciations.
Ceylon.
But before I start, I want to give a shout out to Briefcase YouTube channel. I'll link it in the source notes if you want to check it out. I love his cases, and he does a bunch of historical cases, and they're great. So I just want to give him a shout out. He does
Good
one
job.
on this one, which I listened to. And we've got some French documents that I dove into this week. So
Wow. You polish up that French?
I knew more than I thought I would know, but I don't speak French. I had to rely on a
I thought you
translator, and
did.
yeah, I can say shut your mouth and shut the door because my grandmother
Wow,
spoke
rude.
French, but
Oh.
that's it. That's all she ever said to us in French. Oh, and eat. I can tell people to eat. But yeah, so I had to rely on translator. I don't know how perfect that was.
Okay.
Some of them seemed like maybe they were off a little bit, but for the most part, I think I got the gist of it. I also
I
looked at
can't
newspaper
wait.
articles. Yeah, but the two French documents that I perused, I would love for you to read the titles of those now, so we can just
Right
get that
now?
out of the way. Yeah, I sent you the names of them. So the first one was called.
That's a really long text.
Yeah, go ahead.
God. Let's bring back that first semester French. L'affaire Joniaux, triple impossible, acte d'accusation, rapport des médecins experts et chimistes.
Yep, good. And that's mostly like medical reports and reports from the chemist that I
Triple
was
poison. I just,
looking through. Yeah.
I just
And then the
translated
second
that.
one was.
Oh, they don't pronounce the S's right. Cause criminelle et mondaine de 1895. Albert Betale. Nope, that's Italian.
Dove off the deep end there. Yeah. So there was another article from Crimes About the 1895, and this crime was featured. So let's jump in, shall we? I mean, nothing
I'm
can go
guessing
wrong
there's
here.
going to be poison involved.
Well, obviously, it's one of our old
guess.
TTC as old as time. Here we go. Meet Marie Therese Ablay, born October 15th, 1844 in Belgium. So apologies to Belgium, France, and anybody who has even taken a French course in college. She was one of 6 children, and her mother, Therese, and her father was a lieutenant general for the Belgium army. All the Ablay children received an education, but Marie was said to be the brightest and the funniest and the wittiest and the prettiest.
Wow.
She was the best one, and because of that, she won the unofficial position of her father's favorite, the apple of his eye, as they say.
Or the peach, as some might say.
Yeah, I don't really get apple of the eye, so peach makes just as much sense. Besides Marie, there was Alfred, Charles, both of whom would join the military like their father, and Emily and Léonie, and a name that in French sounds much better than the phonetic English spelling, which is Hortense, is how it's spelled, but it's pronounced in French as like autant. It's so different, but it's literally, yeah, autant. And out here we're like, Hortense, come on. So it doesn't sound great. But anyway, he was around. That's the last we're going to hear about him anyway. By autant. The family was not super wealthy, but because of their father's distinguished career, right? He's a military man. They had this high social status, which we see a lot, an ongoing theme. They get a taste of that high society and they get a little greedy. So Marie, she's traveling the social circuits, going to these high society events as she becomes older, obviously not as a toddler. She's courting young gentlemen, hoping to make this jump right into the marriage realm, like a business move that will elevate her status. And her parents are hoping for the same. Because, she's smart. We know she's charming. She's also quite beautiful as she grows into her womanhood, as they say.
Full package.
Yeah, she really is. But to attend these soirees and make an impression, Marie felt very strongly that she would need the latest and the greatest fashions.
Oh.
So she would just charge them and wear them. This worked for a moment, but then, people wanted to be paid back.
What do you mean charge them? Like
she would just go to a store. Yeah, just take on credit. Yeah.
Okay.
So just like, I got you. Don't worry. That was more common back then. You would go to the market and you'd have a tab and you wasn't like it is today. According to Briefcase, which I mentioned before, he said that Marie was able to talk her creditors into not only holding off on making payments, but then she got them to agree to extend more credit to her. And how did she pull this off?
Yeah.
Well, she's so beautiful that she's bound to land a man and a rich one any day now.
Oh, okay. I
And
see.
in order to do that, she simply needs to continue to look the part. And once this, hook happens, then she will not only pay off her debts, but she'll be a repeat customer and be able to spend even more money. Right? I mean, it's a good argument. The amount of times these type of women waste their talents, though. Like, think of how good she must have been at selling something. She really sold it. And the creditor, she was selling her own good looks and her own charm. And the creditors were like, yeah, this is a sure thing. This is like a savings account, basically. There's no way this woman's not landing the richest, wealthiest, handsomest man in all the land. But to everybody's surprise, Marie decides to marry a man named Frederick Faber, who was not wealthy. He was a historian and a book collector. So I think he had a lot of really great qualities.
Yeah, sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, I know. I think Frederick and I would be a soul match, but Frederick is not rolling in the francs. So her creditors, I'm rolling in the francs. I just realized her creditors were very unhappy. Her creditors were not pleased because they're like, Frederick might be a nice guy and he knows his way around a library, but he's not going to pay off your debts. Still, they got married 1869. She's 24, which I know is crazy, but seems old, doesn't it?
Yeah,
for 1869, which makes me think, was she as charming?
Basically a spinster.
Yeah, she's basically almost a spinster. So did she just not have offers? Was she really not that charming?
Yeah, that's weird.
Was she really not that beautiful? What's going on here? It seems like, was Frederick maybe the only man she could land? I don't know. We'll never know. They have a child in 1871. It's their only child. Her name is Jean. And after Jean is born, the two grow even more apart because Marie wants to continue with the social excitement and the parties and the glam.
See that coming.
Frederick wants to, guess what? Stay at home and curl up with a good book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a book collector.
Right.
I can't think of a better person who is like, you know what? I think I'll stay in tonight.
Right.
So Marie's wanting to party. They have a child to care for. Their expenses increase.
Sure.
And their debts continue to grow over the next several years.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry, Marie has an idea.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she's going to stop gambling and start cutting coupons out of the paper. I'm just kidding. Do you think they had coupons in the 1800s?
I was just thinking about that. I don't know.
Do I say that word weird? Brad says I do.
No, it is just a weird word.
Yeah, now I don't know how to say it.
Coupons? Weird word.
Coupons.
I say coupons, but people say coupons too.
Anyway, I don't think they exist.
Do you think
I'm just kidding.
Coupons?
Anyway, she doesn't do any of those things. She decides to rent out the spare room, which always goes well.
Oh, early Airbnb.
Well, anytime you have a boarder, it's 100% successful.
Correct. We've never heard of it going wrong, actually.
Never, not once. So a civil engineer and a widow by the name of Henry Joniaux, I'm sure it's said much better than that, but moves to rent the spare room. It goes well for Henry. But in December of 1884, Frederick dies. Cause of death is listed as heart disease. Now, at the time of his death, Frederick and Marie were in debt anywhere from 30 to 50,000 francs.
Oh.
30,000 to 50,000. Marie is now 40. Even though he wasn't super wealthy, he was all of the money she had coming in pretty much.
Yeah.
And 40 is not young in the 1800s.
Sure isn't.
That's basically life expectancy. Henry just move into the master bedroom, buddy. You're up. They get married in 1886.
What?
Yeah. So Marie and Henry are now husband and wife, but nothing's really changed. He has a job and, very respectable job, and he's a smart dude, but he's not super wealthy either. So she's still spending like crazy, still married to kind of the same kind of guy, but Henry has 3 children from his previous marriage. So now they have more expenses and, more people to navigate. Eventually Henry will get a promotion, but again, it's not like she needed to marry a prince.
Yeah.
We're just not getting to that status.
She didn't have the strategy.
No, she didn't. She needed to marry a prince when she was like 16.
Yeah.
And just hope for the best.
Go the Ariel route. Do you realize when you rewatch The Little Mermaid that she's 16? It's wild. And
like
she
the live action one or the old one?
No, I haven't seen the new one. I just, it's a little disturbing to watch as an adult.
Aren't they all 16?
Yeah, but she gets married.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Anyways.
She also gets legs. I mean, she's been living with the sharks. Maybe you age faster in the ocean. I can't speak to that. I don't know. In the 1980s in the ocean, it was a different time.
It was a different time.
Oh, Ariel. Okay. Now I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, Marie and Henry, they're married. She's 40. So she could have as many weddings and as many mermaid fins and legs as she would like. Okay, so Henry gets a promotion. That's where we're at. They move to Antwerp. With the move, her creditors aren't as impressed with her as her hometown because they don't know her. They don't care about her.
Yeah,
she hasn't been charming them since she was 16, right? They're like, you're a 40-year-old woman who I've never met. Just pay me my money. Thank you. It starts going a little sour. At the start of 1892, Marie's daughter with Frederick, Jean, becomes engaged. Marie's excited and invites her sister Léonie to come stay with them to celebrate the engagement. And then the soon sounds like you're saying mayonnaise. 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 But anyway, Léonie comes to stay with them to celebrate the engagement, but then the wedding's close by. It's not. It's right around the corner. It's in a few weeks. It's not a long engagement. So she's going to stay for the wedding, and then she might possibly even stay on. Who knows? Maybe it'll go well. Jean's gone. There's a spare room. Spare rooms are great. If you want to die. So 3 weeks after moving in, Léonie becomes ill, and she dies.
From heart disease?
Pneumonia. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Now, Marie says that this is because their other sister, Emily, who was recovering from the flu, had come for the festivities, shared a bed with Léonie, and it's not the Pepin sisters, just slept side by side to share a bedroom. Nothing else happened, but she did get sick from her sister, and she developed pneumonia. That's what happened. Léonie had no other family. She did have a life insurance policy, though, for 70,000 francs, and Marie was the beneficiary.
Oh, that's convenient.
That was just a side note. Don't even worry about that.
Yeah, don't pay attention to that.
Nothing to see here, folks. Just keep on walking. A year later, in March of 1893, Marie has another unfortunate event occur at her home. She invites her uncle by marriage. Bear with me on this name. Van der Kerkhoff? Yeah, Jacques van der Kerkhoff. Got it. Over for dinner. Before dinner has ended, Jacques excuses himself because he is not feeling well. Originally, his plan was to return home that same night, but he can't. He decides to spend the night because he feels so ill. He is dead by morning.
Poison duck.
Cause of death, cerebral apoplexy. Now, with his death, the Joniaux inherit a small part of his estate. Not as much as originally had been put aside for them because Jacques had recently proposed to his longtime mistress who had birthed their son.
Oh.
Before he was married, not after, he'd changed his will, leaving the majority of the estate to his son and the mother of his child.
You're in danger.
People are a little hesitant to go to Marie's for dinner now.
Weird.
I know. It's only 2, though. Remember that other lady had,
Yeah.
what was her name?
I can't remember.
Geisha?
Oh, yeah.
Geisha, she had like everybody she ever met. But anyway, following year, 1894, Marie's brother, Alfred, finds himself in a little bit of trouble. Okay. The book, whose name we can't pronounce, translated, it's Criminal and Social Causes of 1895, paints a pretty bleak picture of Marie. The author writes, at the beginning of 1894, this vain little bourgeoisie, always looking for money to show off, accumulated new liabilities. She hid her family, her allies, her friends. Her credit is threadbare. It was then that she thought of her brother Alfred Ablay, a failure, a former Belgian army officer placed on non-active duty due to debts, a former railway employee in Algeria, who is vegetating miserably in Paris with a mistress, barely earning enough not to starve.
Wow.
That's a harsh. Not on Marie, on Alfred.
Yeah.
So Alfred had been a captain in the army, but he was placed on non-active duty because of his gambling. He'd also lost his first wife to an illness and one of his sons in a tragic accident. He tries to ward off his creditors by getting a life insurance policy with Marie's help of 100,000 francs in February of that year. March 5th, Alfred dies.
Huh.
Cause of death, heart disease or heart attack.
Huh.
This time, the policy is so large that the insurance company requires further investigation.
Ooh.
Alfred's body is exhumed, and traces of morphine are found in his stomach and his tissues. It's also discovered that Marie made 2 purchases at the pharmacy during her brother's visit. With that information, they exhume the bodies of Léonie and Jacques.
Gross.
I know. Because Alfred has only been buried for a minute, but these 2 have been married for a while. Sorry, well, I'm just saying because of how long it's been, no traces of poison are found in their bodies. However, they can rule out the original cause of death because autopsies weren't done. They just, made their best guess, right? Because they were sick. So they can rule out that Léonie did not die from pneumonia and Jacques did not die from a cerebral hemorrhage. That is enough to charge Marie Joniaux with triple homicide for her sister Léonie Ablay, who died January 14th, 1892. Her uncle Jacques died March 1893, and her brother Alfred Ablay, who died March of 1894. At the start of the trial, Marie is described by that same author, this is probably my favorite description, as good, fat, middle-class woman of 45 years old, still fresh and busty, but modest in appearance.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a case of the translation maybe not working out, but I put it in because it's one of the only times where I think fat is used as a positive here.
Yeah.
Like they were like, you know what? She looks good.
Yeah.
She's busting out of things and she's appeasing to the eye, but she may have killed a bunch of people. The motive for all 3 of these deaths is, of course, financial, right? There's evidence that Marie's borrowing money all over town. Loan sharks, tradesmen, pawn shops, gambling, also being accused by the gambling establishments of cheating while she's there.
Oh, boy.
Marie.
Winner's gonna win.
Okay. So if we go through each case one at a time, first up is Léonie. Léonie had been invited to stay with Marie after the life insurance policy was taken out for 70,000 francs. Marie paid the premiums. Marie insists her sister was ill, as mentioned, from Emily. And she said that the insurance policy was taken out to fulfill her mother's wish on her deathbed.
What?
Mrs. Ablay had a secret debt, and she begged her children to pay it and clear her name.
Okay.
Yeah, the court is insistent that the secret debt is a fabrication and that it's Marie who needs the money, which I have to side with them because if I'm dying on my deathbed, I don't think I'm going to be like, pay my Amex bill. I don't think that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
No.
Am I wrong?
No, that's not going to be top of mind.
But maybe it was different. I don't know.
Maybe if there's anything to do with money, it'd be like, there's a treasure map under my desk. It'll lead to gold. And then die.
Leave to Coles?
Gold!
Oh, I was like, Coles Cash? Also, our deathbed voices probably need some work. They're terrifying.
Laisonne. What's it?
Mayonnaise, come to me. All right. Anyway, Marie is like, yeah, I am in debt, but it's because of Frederick, my first husband.
Wow.
Yeah. He was just crazy with the spending. And the court says,
Wow.
okay, if that's the case, then show us. Because there should be receipts, and even the 1800s, you can't pull up QuickBooks. You still should have some sort of record of where your money was coming and
Right.
going.
He's sitting at home with a book, homie.
I know. She said he only made 2,500 francs a year, and she needed to borrow constantly. But here's her seamstress bill for that same year: 6,000 francs.
What?
That's way too many francs. I can
That's
tell
a
you that right
lot
now.
of francs.
So many. Marie also seems to have destroyed most of these receipts, so it's impossible for the court to piece together what actually happened. Yeah. But Frederick's mother gets up and says that Marie is the pit. That was a quote. I assume money pit, and not her son, which, mother-in-laws aren't always out to say the best things about people who have possibly killed their son, but I'm going to have to side with the mother-in-law on this one. Like I said, the authorities are also a little sus about Frederick's death.
Seems to be a pattern, perhaps.
Yeah. He did have a life insurance policy, but I don't believe Marie benefited from it because she didn't read the fine print, and a lot of that went to the creditors instead of her. I don't know that first, if she did murder Frederick, I don't know that was her goal, though. I think she just wanted to be with Henry. But I don't know. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Anyway, there are even theories that possibly the first intended target was actually Marie's daughter. But when Jean became engaged, she thought her sister would be a better target.
Cruel.
Either way, Leone's policy was set up very strategically. And the timing of her death, I know it's circumstantial, but it's so suspicious. The policies were set up so that the first payments of the premium had to be paid in installments. After the first 3 payments and the person was confirmed alive, then the policy would become active.
Huh.
Leone died right as soon as that policy became active. Well, 3 days later, she became sick.
Wait.
Yeah. The timing is further suspicious because from what I could gather from the French documents, Marie had listed her daughter as the beneficiary. This means that there's a very small window in which Leone could die that would actually benefit Marie, because Jean had to be old enough, which is a date that she hit on February 3rd, and she had to be single, which she was about to get married. So there was like this a few week period where Jean would technically be the beneficiary, but Marie would be in charge of it.
Interesting.
Something like that. Now, when Leone was ill, the doctors were called. Their regular doctor came, said, I don't really know what it is, but it's not serious, nothing specific. You know how they always do with those poisoning cases?
Yeah.
But Marie stayed by her bedside nursing her sister. On February 22nd, Emily, the other sister, wanted a second opinion, so she sent Dr. Felipe to take a look. He also thought Leone would recover. He said typhoid with some bronchial symptoms was what he was seeing, but that he expected a full recovery.
Isn't typhoid
February 24th.
Scary?
What's that?
Isn't typhoid scary?
Everything's scary back then. February 24th, Dr. Rule, who'd seen her previously, he came to check on her in the evening, and she seemed alert. She seemed like she was doing better. She seemed on the road to recovery. So he was very shocked when he was called to the house at 2 a.m. and Leone was dead. Marie was saying that she thought it was a cerebral hemorrhage right out the bat. The doctor said that couldn't have been the case, and it was ruled that it was pneumonia because of her bronchial symptoms. Marie denies all of this and denies buying the morphine. But the investigation uncovers that she purchased morphine from 2 different pharmacies before her sister became ill. To this, Marie says she had prescriptions, but she did not fill them. She said, you just have the prescriptions. You don't have proof that I filled them. I did not fill them. After Leone was exhumed, remember there's no traces of poison, but they could confirm that it was not pneumonia.
Got it.
That's suspicious. So then you have Uncle Jacques van den Kerkhove, and we know his backstory. He's a single man. He's fathered a child with one of his servants who'd been his mistress for over a decade.
Wow.
He finally decided to marry her. Because of this, everything was going to be switched to go to the son and to the mother.
Yeah.
The court said that Marie knew she was in the initial will because she'd even mentioned it to the creditors as like an assurance of her eventual wealth.
Mm-hmm.
But the court questions the timing of the dinner invitation because it happened right after her uncle became engaged, but before he was married, the assumption being that Marie thought he hadn't changed his will yet. Marie claims that this dinner was to celebrate her husband's promotion. And the court says your husband was promoted long before that dinner. And she said, oh, it kept
Yeah.
getting rescheduled.
Okay.
We know Jacques is very sick right after dinner and he died the following day. And Marie says it was cause of death, again, cerebral hemorrhage. But the courts, even though they could not find traces of poison, they did find evidence that suggests atropine poisoning, which Marie had on hand for eye drops that she used.
Really?
Do you remember Jolly Jane used to use atropine and morphine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gross. Yeah. Again, her uncle had already changed the will, so Marie and her husband almost received nothing. The court says that she did not know this. And Marie says that she did know this, that she knew he had a
Yes.
child and believed that the money was going to go to him. And she actually thought before it went to the child that it would go to his siblings. And so she never thought that she was going to get anything from him.
Sure.
Now, for Alfred, Marie says she was just being the dutiful sister. Alfred had been passing like fake checks around town and he got into some trouble. She had to get him out of a jam by selling jewelry that she didn't own. So it's a gray area. And then Alfred took out the life insurance policy, right? Marie is also graciously offering to pay these premiums and be the benefactor if he needs it. You know, just saying. And this story of her brother being in trouble and needing help, she's used before to get loans from friends and creditors, just FYI.
But you know what's interesting is that her brother didn't really have any other family, like kids or anything, right? Or he did?
He did have a
He
kid.
did.
And then
Okay,
one
he
kid
did
had
have a kid.
passed away.
Okay, that's right.
But I don't think he was on great terms with his child because he was, I didn't dive into what this actually meant in 1800s, but he was suing his child for like support payments
Oh, wow.
because he was
Okay.
so destitute.
Got it.
So I don't know if that's like a normal thing to do or if maybe that makes Thanksgiving a little awkward.
Feel like it must.
I know they don't have Thanksgiving. You know, I don't know if that's like a weird family dinner. Game night get really ruined by that. All the charade clues are like just really homicidal. Anyway, she claimed her brother trusted her to pay off the creditors and that he owed her money anyway because she had gone to all of these places and paid the fake checks.
Okay.
The court says, okay, who were these fake checks for? Tell us names or show us checks. And she said, oh, Alfred couldn't bear the shame of them existing, so I burned them. Sorry. Bummer.
Yeah.
Oops.
Such a bummer.
Coincidentally, the day Albert rolls into town, Marie stopped at the pharmacy for some morphine. She said it was for her sister Emily. Emily had already said that she had no such prescriptions, but then changed her statement after she spoke to Marie again and said, whoops, sorry, my bad, I forgot.
Really?
Yeah, and the day the policy was signed, Marie bought some more.
Wow.
The idea being that Alfred's business was done because he'd signed the paper and that he was just going to return to Paris, and unless something intervened or someone. That night, he became ill with stomach pains.
Yeah.
So they call into question if he took something on purpose or he suffered from an addiction, but no one in his life had seen him use morphine on a regular basis.
Yeah, I wonder who it was from.
Only a few times in his life had anyone seen him use it, which was actually common. I mean, children are using it at this point.
Yeah.
Marie says that Alfred took morphine on his own. Yeah. So we know from the autopsy that Alfred's body showed signs of poisoning because he was the most recent.
Right.
But it also, just like the others, it showed that he did not die of heart disease. The poisoning was confirmed by the visual confirmation of lesions common with poisoning, and the tissues were sent to a chemist that confirmed morphine. So the timeline of poisoning, if ingested, is a little dicey, but most likely, if taken by a healthy adult who is not used to taking morphine, so they don't have any kind of tolerance for it, and they take too much, death occurs within 5 to 12 hours, symptoms showing within 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Wow.
Marie said that because of that timeline, it couldn't be her because she hadn't even gone to the pharmacy once her brother had started showing symptoms, which I don't understand because the court clearly said that she went twice. So why wouldn't you just be using the first medication from the first time? She was like, I hadn't even gone to the pharmacy yet.
Yeah, okay.
And the symptoms vary widely depending on the person's age and health. Itchy skin, dry mouth, rapid heart rate, ringing in the ears, muscle spasms, sweating, nausea, vomiting,
Oh.
and loss of consciousness.
Have you ever been on morphine? I have.
What? For what?
For my hernia surgery. And it did not make me feel good. Made
Have
me
I been on
very
morphine?
nauseous.
If I do, I don't remember. I don't think so.
Anyways.
Anyway, Alfred went down that path and lost
Yeah.
consciousness. Marie insists that the amount of morphine found was so small it could not be conclusive and that she was denied by the courts the liberty of a second opinion. And she says her and Alfred were close. When he became widowed, she was the one who helped take care of his sons. And when he was in legal trouble, he wrote to her. And he was in despair, threatening to end his life. And so she was only acting out of concern for him.
Uh-huh.
She does admit going to the pharmacy on 2 occasions, once for herself because she needs morphine for a nerve condition to help her sleep, and the other for her sister. She claims her decision to give her real name on both visits and admit this to the court proves that she's innocent. Yeah, I don't know, Marie.
That's what it does.
So during the trial, a lot of information is coming out about Marie. A lot of questions are raised about the death of her first husband, which we've already mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another suspicious death of Alfred's son, Marie's nephew, Lionel. He died in an accident. He actually drowned in his grandmother's pond. But some sources say that he had a bag over his head.
What?
Yeah, what? I don't understand. Was he murdered? That's what that
sounds
says.
like that. Oh my God.
Now, Marie has an alibi for this day. However, blackmail letters were sent to the boy's maternal grandmother. And I say boy, but I think he was a young adult. Maternal grandmother and his uncle Charles, who was wealthy. So what's her name's brother? Marie. There it is. Marie's brother, Charles, who we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes. And these letters are asking for 25,000 francs, saying they would release the secrets surrounding the death of Alfred's son and disgrace the family if that was not paid.
Whoa.
This happened before the murders. This was in 1890.
Yeah.
The letters were said to be in Marie's handwriting.
What?
She denies this, of course, but it was such a weird thing. Now, Marie admits, she's like, I'm really bad with money.
No
Not
shit.
great. They don't have a budget class. And concedes to wrongdoing, financially, like borrowing against jewelry that's not hers. And she says, you will perhaps find that I atone for them harshly and that the punishment far exceeds the magnitude of these faults. By accepting a financial situation such as mine, I understood only too well today, heavy responsibilities. Excuse me, because I am a woman, and even more than a man, a woman is subject to error.
Oh, boy. Feminism at its finest.
Yeah, Gloria Steinem might want to share that quote down real quick. So Marie also starts writing letters to the papers, insisting that she's innocent. And in these letters, there's no logical, she's not pointing out any part of her case. It is just an exercise to evoke sympathy, in my opinion.
Okay.
She writes, I would like, as long as my voice can still be heard, shout, cry out loud, I am innocent of these crimes with which I am accused. And then she starts talking about the people accusing her, and she says, when the hours of sorrow or sadness come for them, let them think of the tears they make me shed. The whole letter is that.
Wow.
That's all it is. There's no like, hey, I couldn't have done it because
Right.
I don't even know how I got the morphine. No.
Oh, boy.
Interestingly enough, her stepchildren, Henry's kids, stand by her, but Jean pieces out. She's like, and accounts claim that Marie actually was nicer to her stepchildren than she was to her own biological daughter.
Wow.
Which I believe.
Okay.
That tracks.
I mean, geez.
I bet Jean's got some secrets.
I am sure.
Yeah. You can't
She's seen some shit, man.
Yeah. Now, Marie was vilified in the press.
Yeah.
Probably rightfully so. But at the trial, she tried her hardest to gain sympathy as well, which I think she was a little bit successful at.
Okay.
In the 1895 edition of The Guardian, excerpts of the trial transcript were published, and the court kind of snidely comments that she seems to have an answer for everything. And she says, surely I am permitted to speak in my own defense. I deplore these unhappy occurrences and the stigma which has rested on my name during the weary months that this trial has been pending. Often in the solitude of my cell, I have wept tears of blood. I don't wish my enemies half the tortures I have suffered. And then she
Oh
burst into tears.
boy. The
Yeah.
drama.
If she relocated to America, she should absolutely move to the South. I think
Yeah.
she'd fit in.
Or Hollywood.
Yeah, she should either be an actress or she should be
A
Gone with the
Southern
Wind.
Belle.
Yeah, like those. I think she
Yep.
would have
One or the
really
other.
lived up to her potential there. Anyway,
Not killed people.
yeah, if she cut back on the poisoning and just gambled her way to the U.S. Marie was sentenced to death by guillotine,
I knew it!
but death sentences in Belgium were commuted to life sentences with hard labor. Marie must know how to work a little because she wasn't super
I can't
wealthy.
see it,
but
though.
she's not going to love that. Do you think the
No.
prison's going to be like, here's $6,000 for new prison uniforms?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
When the morning news in the U.S. reported on Marie's punishment, it said, "But this life imprisonment is of such a hideous form that death must follow. They will put her in a cell into which daylight cannot penetrate. She will never see a human being, never hear a human voice again. They will push her food in through a slit in the wall of her cell. She will go mad at the end of a few months if death does not come first."
What? She's in solitary confinement?
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how the morning news is getting the pulse on this. That seems worse than a death sentence, to be honest.
It does.
Well, Marie proves them all wrong. She lives to be 79.
Wow.
And she dies in 1923. I wonder if they relaxed the rules a little bit.
During World War I.
Well, maybe when she survived a couple years of it, they were like, you know what?
That's wild. If she's going in for hard labor, she wouldn't be by herself.
That's what I would think. I mean, unless they're like...
America's being dramatic, let's be honest.
Probably, I think. Unless she's like painting miniatures in her cell the whole time or sewing buttons or something.
Miniatures! You know
Do you
what? Prison mates, gather up. We got some miniatures to be painted.
No, I say that because do you not remember Nellie Pope? That was her prison job. Because she didn't work well with others. They were like, here, paint these miniatures. That's what she did.
I know, but why? What are they for?
Toys.
Wild.
I don't know.
Wow.
So what do you think?
I think she is our classic poisoner.
Classic, right?
Yeah. I don't know if she enjoyed it, but I don't think it bothered her, obviously, because she did it multiple times and she was just so...
To her brothers and sisters.
Yeah, she was so motivated by finance and moving up and, that all the parties and social gain and all that stuff. Like when you come from, not necessarily working class, but like when you move up a level or you're trying to and you get a taste of the high life, even though she was never like married up that high, but she was trying to live that. When it starts to drain away, I feel like people who are like that will snap. And she snapped.
Yeah. Yeah. She does not seem quite as intense as Geisha or Mary Creighton, but she seems very intentional.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's a serial killer.
She is, so, by definition.
I'm not interested in having dinner or tea with her.
No thanks.
There's just too much. The timing of Leone's stuff is so...
it's absurd.
And her brothers. I don't really know what she thought about her uncle. My guess is she probably thought they would get money and was wrong, but,
It's just wild to do that.
It's tough. In those times, it can also make maybe one of them was an accident.
Right.
You have that pattern. I also think
That's
she probably killed Frederick.
Yeah, I do too.
That would be my guess. Poor Frederick.
I just wanted to read his books.
That's what I say. It's a tale as old as time. They all are beautiful and charming.
Uh-huh.
Or like have some sort of undefinable quality that lures people in.
Yeah.
And then they just use them for their benefit.
Interesting. Like sometimes we'll see this the other way around where, how she kept getting credit for all of her stuff and like...
Yeah.
People around town must have known that she wasn't paying stuff off. And sometimes like it's the opposite where you go to a new town and you can like, spend more and like get away with more because people don't know your tricks. But in this case, people were just like, no, immediately.
No, she did. But I'm thinking about how quickly she charged stuff. I don't think it lasted more than a few months before people were saying, okay, well, now you need to pay us. I don't know what happened where you used to live, but she had like a 20-year run in her hometown where she just
I
kept
don't
saying,
understand how she did.
I mean, she had a gambling problem. So she must have had some windfalls
Yeah,
and
I guess.
occasionally paid things off. She also borrowed money from her mother-in-law and friends. And she also, she might have resorted to other things. I don't know if she was stealing or, I think she probably cheated on Frederick. So maybe she
Yeah.
had some side relationships that were beneficial to her. We'll never know.
Wow. A tale as old as time.
Tales all
Truly.
the time.
It's almost
Just pull
like a
out that.
comfort read at this point. It sounds weird to say, but
I know you had zero surprise. You were just like, well, she
Yep.
poisoned 3 people. We're done
know
here.
the drill.
I'm surprised it's only 3. She used arsenic or morphine. Where are we
Right.
at? Because that's
I was
all they
waiting for
ever
that.
do. It's just boring, same thing.
Boring.
Do you think these people knew about each other? Like, do you think Jolly Jane read the articles about this and deposited somewhere in her mind for later?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Inspiration. She put it on her Pinterest board.
It's on her vision board. Jesus. Well, she clearly didn't read the U.S. news.
Yeah.
Because they were like, she's going to die alone.
Yeah. Miserable death.
I mean, it couldn't have been great being in prison until you're 79.
No, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
But
I mean, she was in her
I would
40s.
imagine it becomes a community. I'm not trying to glorify prison, but
Quick
when
question,
you're there that
how's
long,
the bread? If the bread's decent, I'm in. I'm not really. Leave me alone. That was Alana speaking.
No, I don't want to go in. I think I'd be good at prison though.
Oh my God. Why do you say these things?
Because
what would you be good at?
I think I would be very disciplined and I'd do all my tasks really well. And maybe they'd give me an extra shot of Jell-O or something.
I love that you think prison is only about completing tasks.
No, like not easy tasks, like hard tasks. Like give it to me. I'll break some rocks or,
Sure, but what about the prisoners?
That would be tough.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the whole point. I don't think anybody would mind prison if they just had to go be by themselves and do a job.
I know.
They're like, listen, we're isolating you in a cabin in the mountains and we're going to need you to paint buttons for the next 4 years. We'll check in on you from time to time. Enjoy yourself. That's not prison. They're like, hey, we're going to stick you in with very unpredictable folks and you're going to have to do what we say when we say it.
Years. Wild. Like she was, how many years was that? 39 years for her?
I don't know. I don't know her exact age when she went in.
Okay. But ish in that department. That's a long time. Like I feel like you'd have some real relationships.
But then people are getting paroled.
I know. But that's the thing. It's a shifting one unless you're with other like lifetimers. Anyways, please, I would not like to go to prison and I have not deserved it.
This is an 1800s prison too, or I guess an early 1900s. So think of the toilet situation. Yeah, exactly.
All right,
exactly.
I'm out.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think I could do the current toilet situation in prisons.
No.
Isn't it just a thing in the corner?
I mean, that's what it is in the movies. I haven't been to a lot of prisons.
Oh, we can ask one of our listeners.
When I was a kid, we went and toured the prison.
How was that?
It was uncomfortable because it was a men's prison. And when I
a live prison?
Uh-huh. And when
that seems inappropriate.
Yeah. As I'm thinking back on it, I'm thinking that probably wasn't safe for me as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old.
And like a little bit of voyeurism, that's not appropriate too.
Whole class went.
Yeah, I don't love that.
I didn't
like maybe to like an Alcatraz that's not being used anymore.
No, yeah, there were people there and they were like out in the yard and so was I. And I mean, there are people in prison who are in prison for, drug offenses or they made a mistake or they're innocent. I'm not saying that prison is full of a mix of different people.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's kind of crappy that to like have like people come in on a field trip to like look at you in prison.
Yeah. Like it was weird on all levels.
That is wild. What a story.
Yeah, I know. I hope every gentleman I encountered that day is doing great and living their best life.
Unless you did bad things.
All right, what are your last words?
Get some new poison ideas, gals.
I know. Just like be new, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like Aqua Tofana,
Aqua Tofana.
it just feel like she left a real imprint. You know? I don't know.
She's the
It was
gold
just
standard
different.
for poison. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I know I might have killed hundreds of gentlemen, but I'm leaving it up to the women to do and to get out as a
Yeah.
escape route.
Yeah.
This is just boring. Like, just, you know what?
Yeah.
Just stop gambling for a minute. I
Yeah.
know it's an addiction,
It
but
is an addiction.
I understand it's an addiction. Okay. I don't know. Maybe get a
But don't
job.
kill people over it.
You're still busty at 40. Like, go out and live it up.
Exactly.
I don't know. You've been using your beauty all this time. Like, let's use it to our benefit, lady.
Exactly.
Instead of killing people.
Yes.
Paint some miniatures. I hear it's really soothing.
Stop it. I do. It is a hobby for people. I feel like it could be relaxing. It's like kind of doing puzzles or coloring books.
I am going to pass on trying it.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I think I would get too frustrated because I would screw it up and it would no longer be relaxing for me.
I just feel like after it's done, then what? Have a bunch of miniatures now?
Go to the next one.
Yeah, but then where do these miniatures go? Where do they live?
Maybe play with them.
What? Why am I playing with
Some
miniatures?
people use them for like a Dungeons and Dragons game night and they put them like on the battle pieces. But I don't know.
Now you're out of control.
It's just such a fine paintbrush. I feel like I could go, oh, and the color's off and I've ruined it all and I've thrown it against the wall because I'm frustrated.
Yeah, I'm not interested. Paint your own miniatures.
No, I don't think it's not my thing. Crochet has been a better practice for me.
Yeah. All right. What else you got?
And use your bustiness for good. You know.
All right. Well, who should listen?
People in situations where they're moving on up in life. Good for you. Don't let it get to your head and stay grounded and focus on not murdering. Let's see who else. French people, because they're going to love our beautiful accents.
Yeah. Bonjour, comment ça va?
Oh, watch out. And let's see, who else do we want to listen? I feel like journalists, like this was a good representation of some journalism. Appreciated some of the descriptions.
Yeah.
And then let's just throw in some, people who enjoy a Les Mis performance. That's it.
Always talk about that. Stealing bread.
Everything comes back to bread.
I love bread. Yeah, live within your means instead of poisoning your siblings.
Yeah.
Just my words of wisdom for the day.
Yeah.
And all right.
Preach,
well,
sister.
you can find us on all the platforms at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com.
You can buy things at
teatimecrimes.show.
Yes. And please rate, review, like, subscribe, send us suggestions for teas and crimes. And we will be back next week, God willing. And the teats don't rise. There.
Gotta get some teats.
It's just a thing now.
It's just a thing.
Okay, bye.
Ta-ta.